that. And I actually use that time to do a lot of visualization, which I find is really, really powerful. So
Mm-mm.
whilst
Oh,
I'm trying to
100%.
get drowsy, I'm like doing mental pictures in my head about, how I would like to be perceived, the man I am, my success, etc., etc., etc. And
Mm,
yeah, I've been seeing some really, really good results with that, which
good
is
stuff,
great.
man. I mean, it's literally
Um,
the best time to practice it, right? Because you're already in bed, your eyes are anyway closed, and you're not like taking an interruption out of like the rest of your day.
For sure, for sure. And there's something about you start to enter into a brainwave called theta, and you're really impressionable in theta brainwave. So your subconscious mind will take the ideas more readily when you're in that brainwave.
Mm,
So yeah, you're very, very impressionable, very, very impressionable just before you go to bed and first thing in the morning. So if you give yourself some ideas that you're a successful, powerful entrepreneur, then your mind will
mm,
take that shit and it will run with it. So that's a little lesson to all of you there. Give yourself
yes, sir.
suggestions. You are the man you want to be at those times.
So
So right, go on.
how do you go about like the actual like visualizing like process? Do you have like any prompts? Do you have any like structures that you follow? Like if you were to
Yeah.
guide someone who's very new to it, what would you say to them?
That's a good question. So what I would say is that visualization, a lot of people, the common mistake people do with that is they don't visualize it from first person, they'll visualize it from third
Mm,
person. So
okay.
they'll visualize it like there's a camera in the corner of the room, they're looking down on
Mm,
themselves, but rarely you have a reference point for seeing yourself. It's always through your eyes. So there's better your subconscious mind will find that confusing, so you have to visualize it from the first person point of view. The other thing is to induce a drowsy state of sleep. So Neville Goddard talked about this idea called stats, which is called a state akin to sleep.
mm,
So you'll start to feel this is how I would do it, is that I would lie in a position that I don't typically fall asleep in, because otherwise you'll fall
okay.
asleep. So I always, if I'm going to sleep, I'll fall asleep on my side like this or the other side. So what I do is I lie on my back, because I never fall asleep lying on my back, right? And if you lie there long enough and you can calm yourself, you can activate your parasympathetic nervous system, you start to get this kind of like light, like drowsy feeling, like your body's very, very light. That's the only way I can kind of
Mm,
describe it. You start to feel like floaty, right? And this is when you start getting into that state that Neville Goddard talked about called State-Akin-To-Sleep. And then when
mm,
you're in that feeling, you rehearse a mental picture of an event that implies that you already have the thing that you want. So it implies
mm,
you already have the thing that you want. So say for argument's sake, say you wanted to imply that you got a new job, right?
mm,
That you're in a job with double your pay, right? Maybe it would be you looking out your eyes, shaking somebody's hand, and they say, "Congratulations, Joseph. Really happy to take you on board as our new graphic designer. Your salary
mm,
is," and then you look down and you see the paper, and it's what you want. And what you're doing, this should only be about 30 seconds long. And you have to keep replaying the event, but each time focus on a different sensory layer to make it more believable. So say the first time you're just focusing on what can you feel? Like what's the temperature in the room? Can you feel the warmth in the
mm,
person's hand as you're shaking their hand? Can you feel, your own arm? Can you feel, the desk? Is it wooden? Is it metal? Is it cold? What's the temperature of it? What's the seat you're sat in? Is it comfy? Is it uncomfortable? Is it hard? Is it soft? And then you go again. What can you hear? Can you hear the whirring of the aircon in the corner? How does the interviewer
mm,
sound like? Is it a man? Is it a woman? Is there music? And you go
mm,
again. What can you smell? And you go again. What can you see? Is it first thing in the morning, or is it late at night, or what's the season? Is it winter? Is it summer? So you keep doing this again and again and again and again, and eventually it will become so vivid, it will become so real that your mind will not be able to distinguish between it being an imaginary and fake, imaginary and real, pardon me. So essentially and this is proven in scientific context, that your mind can't distinguish between something being real and something being imagined. And I
mm,
actually learned this through studying PTSD, because that's what happens when you have PTSD, is that your body believes it's in a memory from the past, and it can't distinguish between the memory and what's happening
Mm,
now. So that's why people will have, panic attacks if you maybe experienced a sexual assault, or if you experienced, some kind of war crime, is that you're going back to an event that your body can't distinguish as a memory. So you get the
mm,
physiological feedback. So the same thing happens when you're doing it in the future. And what will happen is eventually you will fall asleep in this state. And then you wake up next morning and you'll be in the best fucking mood. You'll be in the best mood. It's unbelievable, right? And there won't be a doubt in your mind that this is something that's happened to you. And you'll know
mm,
it. And the reason you know it works is that the last thing that you will want to do is do it again the next night, because in your mind it's already happened. It's already real, right? So it's almost like a really aggressive form of programming, right?
mm.
And
Yes.
there's a couple esoteric elements which I am hesitant to go into, but the idea, just for argument's sake, because we'll keep this rational, just for argument's sake, is that what's actually happening is that if you've convinced yourself of something that's already happened, is you carry yourself from the identity of somebody that has that thing. So to give you to ground that in a real story, I once heard an interview from a guy who was interviewing a millionaire, and he was saying, if I wiped your bank account tomorrow, how would you feel about that, right? And the millionaire turned around to him and said, I wouldn't feel any different, because I've already done the things. I'm already a millionaire here. You don't understand, right? I already have the mentality, the temperament, the experience of a millionaire. So that money will
Mm,
replace itself very, very quickly, because I already am that person, right? Reality is just not reflecting that, at the moment. So it's only a matter of time. And the same thing will happen with when you convince yourself that you've experienced that event. It's only a matter of time before that thing's happened, because you'll carry yourself as the person who has that new job, who's doubled his salary. So
mm.
it's that's the easiest way to distinguish it in kind of conscious terms. And then you can talk about the law of magnetism and attraction and things like that. But perhaps we'll put a pin in that for the moment. That's essentially the premise. So you got a good little experiment to do with yourself tonight, Raj.
Yeah, bro. I'm doing it tonight. I also sleep on my side, so I'm gonna do the thing where I sleep on my back, and then
100%.
I'll let you know, bro. I'll let you know. It might be
Yeah.
tomorrow. Might be the best day I've had in a while.
Yeah, man. It's a really good exercise. And again, you know it's worked, because the last thing you want to do is the next day is do it again. That's how you know. And
Mm,
this is what Neville called the gift from God. Mm.
mm.
Well, brother, I think this has been a really, really good chat. Covered a lot of subjects, went from Twitter to fitness to nutrition to entrepreneurship to creating our realities. I
Yes,
love it.
sir.
That's a whistle stop tour of everything, man.